A very warm welcome to all of you on this first ever Anuvrat International Conference. Vande Guruvaram, Vande Guruvaram, Vande Guruvaram. Ladies and gentlemen, with this magical moment here on stage, I would like to hand over to Gurudev to share with you the basics of the Anuvrat philosophy, to acquaint you with what this celebration means, and to take you on a journey, not in real time, in virtual time. So very quickly you'll travel through the journey that he has undertaken over the last so many decades. Ladies and gentlemen, Acharya Shri Mahashramamanji.
The world today is in search of a sustainable model of development. The Anuvrat presents a model based on self-discipline. The slogan of Anuvrat is Sanyamah Khalu Jivanam. Self-discipline is indeed the life. But then there are few questions which need to be answered. How can we transform the hearts? How can we reform the society? How can we translate knowledge into action? How can we switch over from sadness to gladness? How can we shift from disparity to parity? How can we cultivate unity in diversity? The questions are many, but the answer is one, that is Anuvrat. What is Anuvrat? Anuvrat is a universal code of conduct which has the potential to resolve the global problems, to get rid of the widespread conflicts, to extirpate the destructive emotions and create a new peaceful world order. It was the divine wisdom of the great visionary, late Acharya Sri Tulsi, that gave birth to the Anuvrat movement, and the intellectual acumen of the great spiritual practitioner Acharya Sri Mahapragya Ji, that the mission got crystallized into a worldwide activity. Non-violence and self-discipline are to be practiced in each and every field of life. Through this only, the ultimate penance to the burning global problems can be found. I hope that the presentation of papers and the interaction in the conference would go a long way in strengthening the moral fiber of the global society by suggesting the practicable means and ways to inculcate non-possessiveness, self-restraint, mutual understanding, and the spirit of reverence for all forms of life, including even the plants. I wish for a bright success and a fruitful outcome of the conference for achieving its objectives. Om.
Thank you, Acharya Shri Mahashramamanji. His Holiness' words are few, but certainly have a great impact and an even greater meaning. When Acharya Shri Tulsi was just a little boy, he went to his mother and he said, "Who will be the successor of our current Acharya Ji?" And his mother said, "What a thing to ask. How can you talk like this?" And then he went on to become such a young monk at the age of 11. And of course, then the rest you will know as we proceed through the 3-day conference. In fact, in a very short while from now, through an audio visual, which we are going to share with you on the Anuvrat philosophy.
Jagad Vandya Swami Vishad Charito Naam Tulsi.
Ambassadors of the truth emerge on the earth time to time to save it from such regression. And one such ambassador was ought to emerge in such difficult time for humanity. And he emerged, this time in Larnu, a small hamlet of Rajasthan in India, on October 20th, 1914. He was named Tulsi. Acharya Kalugni, the 8th Acharya of Therapanth order, greatly influenced Tulsi. Tulsi later recalled, "His divine face fascinated my heart, and I used to gaze at him for hours." When Acharya Kalugni came to Ladnu in 1925, young Tulsi was only 11 years old. In less than a month, he got inclined to become a Jain monk and got initiated in Therapanth order by Acharya Kalugni. The entry into the life of a monk throws open the doors not only of the learning of the duties and ways of a monk, but also those of new education. The dynamic and vibrant spirit of the young boy attracted the attention of Kalugni, who nominated him to be his successor on 21st August 1936. It was less than a week's time after his nomination that he lost his esteemed guru, Kalugni, and had to take the responsibility of Acharyahood on 27th August 1936. Acharya Tulsi was a great visionary, and as soon as he became the head, he started conceiving several innovative ideas, programs, and schemes for the upliftment of mental, ethical, and emotional status of his followers. The partition of India and Pakistan in 1947 had sweeping cultural effects. Countless individuals were uprooted from their homeland and forced to escape on foot, carts, or trains. The tragic part was that some of the people got involved in immense sectarian violence, and at the other hand, some resorted to extract monetary benefits out of such a chaotic situation. Acharya Tulsi was disenchanted by such human psyche rooted in selfishness, over-competitiveness, over-consumerism, and maximization of profit by unfair means. Acharya Tulsi realized that the independence of India would be futile unless the national character was developed. To him, the real independence meant moral elevation. Anuvrat movement was an experiment in this direction, which he initiated on March 2nd, 1949. There are 5 principles of Anuvrat. These are truth, non-violence, non-possession, non-stealing, and celibacy. A series of campaigns were launched from time to time under his guidance against the evils of adulteration, corruption, untouchability, dowry, etc., to generate a new wave of consciousness in the masses. The echo of the Anuvrat movement had reached from the door of a poor man to the President House. Dr. Rajendra Prasad, the first President of India, said, "In the present age when man is dazzled by material prosperity and is neglecting the moral and spiritual values of life, balance can be maintained only by such movements." In 1960, in Rajsamand, Acharya Tulsi launched the campaign Naya Mode to get the society rid from old traditions of long veils and burdensome ornaments worn by women. Likewise, he dealt strongly to evil practices such as neglecting widows, child marriages, and death feasts. Acharya Tulsi was the pioneer to lay the foundation of revival of ancient methods of meditation. Under his guidance, Acharya Mahapragya reinstated the Preksha meditation in 1975. Preksha literally means looking deeply into the self. In 1980, Acharya Tulsi founded a new order of semi-monks and semi-nuns called Samans and Samanis to spread the preaching of Jainism worldwide. Regarding use of the resources, Acharya Tulsi said, "Wants should be reduced, desires should be curbed, and consumption to be kept within reasonable limits. Using any resource beyond one's needs and misuse of any part of nature is considered a form of theft. Indeed, his faith goes one step further and declares unequivocally that generating waste and creating pollution are the acts of violence. If waste is created, then the solutions must be found to recycle the same simultaneously. Acharya Tulsi also took the preaching of Lord Mahavira forward to understand nature's utility and the importance of all the living beings to maintain ecological balance. Acharya Tulsi himself was a prodigious literateur. He nurtured a large number of literary talents. One of his dreams translated into reality when Jain Vishwabharati was established under his guidance at Ladnu, Rajasthan in 1971. The objective of establishing this organization was to revive truths and values hidden in the Jain tradition and in the ancient Indian traditions. Acharya Tulsi said that the main objective of the religion is to remove evil at every level of individual, social, political, or any sphere of spiritual living. Sri Tulsi and his monks traveled on feet for over 100,000 kilometers in order to spread the message of humanity among the masses of the country. One unbelievable event took place on February 18th, 1994, in the presence of thousands of people gathered at Sujangarh in Rajasthan. Most unexpectedly, Sri Tulsi made the announcement that he has decided on relinquishing the Acharyahood in favor of Yuvacharya Mahapragya. For one Acharya to transfer his exalted office to another within his lifetime was a unique event in the history of the Jains. Later, he accepted the title of Ganadipati on humble pleading by Mahapragya and the entire Theravada order. Despite his advanced age and falling health in 1997, he decided to continue his march and proceeded to Ganga Shahar, Bikaner. Nobody could have thought that it was the final leg of Saint Tulsi's long spiritual journey. He decided to go on retreat for a fortnight to spend his time doing meditation in tranquility. Tulsi's devotees were eager to have a glimpse of their Guru, and the retreat came to an end on 23rd June 1997 around 10 a.m. He came out and blessed thousands of devotees who were waiting for him. After a short discourse, he moved to his room and asked for his spectacles to read a letter. By the time the spectacles were fetched, the destined moment for the departure of his soul had already come. It was an end of a magnificent life which lived with a great purpose. Saint Tulsi's renunciation of the body was as sudden, unexpected, and dramatic as was the renunciation of his acharyaship. The world plunged into grief. The news spread like wildfire, and thousands of people rushed to Bikaner to have his last glimpse. A large crowd of people, which included statesmen, men of letters, politicians, and eminent Jain leaders, joined the last march. Though Saint Tulsi is no more with us physically, he will live forever through his message and his contribution to humanity. He was a leader. He was a teacher. He was a motivator. He was a speaker. He was a poet. He was a singer. He was a writer. He was everything. But he thought he was nothing. And this very thought made him a celebrated, outstanding, and idealistic leader. His Holiness, Acharya Tulsi.
बदले युग की धारा अनुव्रत के द्वारा. By following the Anuvrat philosophy, the whole world's direction can change. We have with us someone from Italy, Claudia Pastorino.
Swim in the sea of morality and let our pristine soul thrive. Self-discipline defines our lives. Self-discipline defines our lives.
I would like to invite Shri Kanhaiyalalji Jain to please say a few words and to give you a formal welcome address.
We welcome you on behalf of Acharya Sri Mahashraman Pravas Samiti and on behalf of Acharya Sri Tulsi Centenary Years Celebration Committee and on my behalf. The whole world today is gathering under beloved Prime Minister Mr. Modi going to USA today, and here we are gathering for the same thing, that how this world will be sustained, how our generation will be living when we are spending everything so ruthlessly. We have all gathered from all over the world that are we doing right things? Are we doing right things? The message will go from here, not only for Delhi, but all over the world, that we should preserve. Things are limited. We should have a self-restraint. Without self-restraint, where will go? What lesson we'll be teaching to our children? I think we will listen with the very august gathering today we are having the speakers from all over the world who have come, who was concerned about the earth and future of the world. He will come out with something that we have to concern about that, and self-discipline has got to become from first within. With these words, I welcome all of you who have come, spend so much of time, so much of energy, and we are really proud that you are all here. Welcome you all again. Thank you very much.
I'd like to invite Mr. Kamal Dugar from Calcutta. He is the chief convener of the Acharya Tulsi Birth Centenary Celebration Committee.
I'm indeed privileged to welcome you all to this Unworth International Conference organized on this historic occasion of Acharya Tulsi Birth Centenary Year. This conference is being held under the auspices of Acharya Tulsi Birth Centenary Celebration Committee and under dynamic convenership of Mr. Surinder Borar Pataudi, who is a person with rare abilities, and his team who have been working devotedly for the last many months of make this conference a truly international and successful event, along with the team of local bodies supported by Mr. Kanhaiyalalji Jain Pataudi. Friends, in the glorious tradition of Indian culture and history, a number of living legends have left their mark and messages on the life of mankind. Among them, we had a great personality of 20th century, Acharya Tulsi. Acharya Tulsi inspired and transformed the lives of millions of individuals by his teachings and preachings. If an individual is morally flawless, there is beauty in his character. When there is moral flawless and beauty in the character, then the society itself becomes harmonic. When the society becomes harmonic, then there is order in the nation. When there is order in the nation, then the world is bestowed with peace. On this auspicious occasion of his birth centenary, we have taken a vow to spread his teaching and preachings of peace, non-violence, and unworth, and also forward the inspirational and adventurous life before the entire world. Friends, this conference is a major event in the same direction and has been organized to spread the message of peace and non-violence. We are indeed happy that distinguished and eminent personalities from academic and spiritual field from all parts of the world are present here. As an educationist, Acharya Tulsi realized the importance of the part played in the dissemination of Jain philosophy of ahimsa by Western thinkers and motivators through dialogue and international and interaction among peace-loving and creative intellectuals. Today's event is another important and tangible step toward realization of Acharya Tulsi's dream of a peaceful, healthy and balanced society with moral values. Respected friends, Acharya Tulsi Birth Centenary Celebration Committee and Terapanthi Mahasabha is thankful to each one of you who have traveled a great distance to take part in this conference and contribute in the deliberation. Thanking you, Om Aram.
Om Arham. Thank you, Kanwar Kumar Dukurji. As you were speaking, you mentioned 100,000, 100,000. I thought of 100,000 trees in Momasar. I thought of 2 hospitals, and I thought of 6 villages where the health requirements of the local people have been taken care of. Ladies and gentlemen, the gentleman who does this has to be someone who cares, has to reflect that in his work, and so he chooses the field of recycling. Whether it's rubber, plastic, energy, and what else can be recycled. Whatever can be recycled, when it comes to reusing, not just sustainability from the point of view of recycling, but actually a circular economy where there's zero waste, zero tolerance for things not to be used, that's where Surinder Burrat Patavari really becomes someone who is hugely motivated to be absolutely on top of things. He was awarded the Antwerp Excellent Enterprise Award for Gemini Corporation NV Belgium, which is the corporation which he is the chairperson of. It happens to be the flagship company of the Suravi Group. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands up in the air with an Om Aram and welcome Bhai Saab.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. If the Delhi state government decide to cut all its green trees, to convert them into cleaning tissue paper, it would be counted as an increase in the GDP of Delhi. More so, it will be considered economically a good progress for the citizen of Delhi. Is this really a good progress? You cut trees and you produce. Obviously, there is no connect between the present and the future, between the present actions and the consequences. And this is exactly explained by a great environmentalist, Mrs. Graciela Chilchilinski, in a recent conference in Antwerp, the city where I come from, in the presence of Nobel Prize winner Dr. Pachauri, an Indian citizen, and Richard Branson. Every country needs economic growth. Granted, economic growth is needed for the well-being of people, for the stability, for the peace. But how can we grow without risking our future? The solution lies in the adoption of concept of circular economy. The solution lies in the idea of preservation of environment, and the solution lies in the idea of conservation of resources. Nowadays, we hear the word expression, circular economy. It's become a buzzword, a magic word in Europe and China, and it got a big boost, dear Ambassador, when the European Commission adopted a legislative proposal early in July to turn European economy into a circular economy. The concept of preservation of environment is not new. It was already in existence even 2,500 years back, when the last Tirthankar of Terapanth, Jain religion, Lord Mahavira, he taught us through the Acharang Sutra. I have brought it here, the epic ancient scripture, Acharang Sutra, the principle of preservation of environment. The idea of conservation of resources is not new. It was extensively promoted by our Acharya Tulsi, whose centenary we are celebrating today, 65 years back, through his Anuvrat movement. Through the movement, through small vows, he would ask us to take vow not to cut trees, not to waste water. And our present Acharya, he is carrying it forward by telling us to observe limits on control on consumption. Acharya ji, Niyojika ji, Samni work, monks, nuns, guest of honor, ambassador of Austria, Mr. Bernard Rapith, Chief Guest, Anurag ji, Chairperson, President of Birth Centenary, Tulsi Centenary Celebration Committee, Kamalji Duggad, who has been a great support to us, Chairperson, Pravas Samiti, Bhai Sahab Kanyalal ji, delegates, speakers, panelists, friends, I welcome you all to this conference. And I sincerely hope that this conference will lead to some quantifiable objects, some quantifiable propositions. And we would get a spiritual awakening that we are simply caretakers of this planet. We did not inherit this earth from our ancestors. We simply borrow from our children. We simply borrow from our children for its proper care and proper safe use. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And now we're going to have the ambassador of Austria, our guest of honor, say a few words to us.
I had very, very little clue about what Anuvrat philosophy means and what it signifies. And I already learned a lot during the last few hours.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you Anurag Batra, who is our chief guest for the inauguration of the Anuvrat International Conference.
Researched on Anuvrat philosophy, and I realized that, it's a good reiteration for me.
I met Acharya Tulsi in 1995.
If the Anuvrat movement, the short vows, were in every person's mind and heart, we might have world peace.
Can a proper understanding of ahimsa as a core human virtue offer us an efficacious and enduring way to resolve conflict and achieve peace?
The main part of this presentation is to bring in light how big a human is and how big life is.
We should also have conferences that unite giants.
To why India is lagging behind now by 30 years from the European countries.
What we need is to radically change people's viewpoints from anthropocentrism and maybe the related egocentrism to a more biocentric or ecocentric, and here the eco stands for ecosystem, approach. I tend to agree with these people.
Respect Mother Earth, it's the relation of us with the nature.
The UN Information Center has connected to Anuvrat many times in the past.
And this Anuvrat philosophy, which is more than a philosophy, it's a praxis, it's a lifestyle, it's a worldview, it's an existence, it's a being.
Which goes in the line of Anuvrat. He says, in the deep pit, opened by your humility.
Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo